Liz, I'm the baker that sews. Welcome to my channel if you're new and welcome back if you are a subscriber. As always, it's really lovely to have you here as I share my sewing journey. So welcome back to my channel. I love talking about all things sewing, fabric, patterns and things that have been inspiring me in the sewing community. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, then please do make sure that you've hit that subscribe button because you'll get notified of when I bring out my next video. I aim to bring out videos on a Wednesday evening and then I always bring out a video on a Sunday evening. The time varies, it just depends on when I get a chance to edit that video, but it's usually up on my channel by 9 o'clock. And that's what today's video is going to be all about. So today is episode 31 of my Sunday sewing catch-up. So I'm going to be talking about all of the things that I've sewn up this week, any fabric that I've been buying, and things that have been inspiring me. I've got a couple of YouTube channels to talk about as well. And what I'm wearing is one of the things that I got sewn up this week, so I'll talk about that in a second. It has been half term, which means that I have managed to get quite a lot sewn up this week. I mentioned in my last Sunday sewing catch-up my husband tested positive for COVID, so we were spending the first half of half term at home anyway, and then towards the end of the week we did get out for one day. We've been out for like local walks in the area, but the last half of half term the weather turned really bad and we've had a couple of storms. So it meant I had the perfect opportunity to stay at home and do even more sewing, which was lovely. So I have managed to sew quite a few things that I wanted to this week. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I just stopped filming to pop the light on because it's actually got a little bit dark. It's raining at the moment outside, which has meant it's got a little bit dark. So I thought I'd pop the light on in the hope that that stops the video from being as grainy as it was before. So one of the first things, or these aren't in any particular order, but whilst I'm wearing this dress, I thought I'd talk about this dress. And I've been going on about this fabric for a while. It's a fabric that came in one of the Sew Hayley Jane boxes, not the last box, but the box before. It's a double gauze, and it's got, my double gauze has got sunshines all over it, and then there was a different double gauze that had a different print on it. I'm not a massive fan of double gauze. Having said that, I've sewn two things this week that use double gauze, and it's kind of made me fall back in love with the fabric. So I had a disaster with double gauze probably about a year ago when I tried to sew up a dress. Can't remember the name of the pattern now, but everything that could go wrong with that dress went wrong. The fabric stretched out, and it didn't look great on me. I think it was a combination of the fabric and also the colour, because it was like it was a green, like a khaki green, and I don't think that that's a colour that looks great on me. So I think it was a combination of the fabric and also the colour of the fabric. So it kind of put me off sewing with double gauze, if I'm honest. But then this fabric came in the box and it's so beautiful. Blue is one of my favourite colours. Green is my all-time favourite colour, but it has to be a certain shade of green. And then blue, I think, is a colour that suits me. So I was really keen to sew this up. And then I've got another blue double gauze fabric that's been sat in my stash for a while that I was keen to sew up as well. So I thought I'd give it another try, but I made sure that I used stay tape around the neckline to stop it from stretching out. I was just really careful with how I handled the fabric. Didn't press it too much because I didn't want to lose that lovely double gauze texture either. And I just really took my time handling the fabric. And I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. So this is a pattern by Bella Loves Patterns, and it's the floor wrap dress and also top. So you can either sew up the top, and if I stand up you'll be able to see. If I was going to turn this just into the top, there's a waistband here, so it would have stopped there and it wouldn't have the skirt, which I've got on this version. I really love this dress. I've made a couple of versions of this dress already, and I thought that this double gauze would work perfectly for the dress as well. It's got ruffles. My favourite part of this pattern is the ruffle. Starts sort of here where the waistband is, and it goes all the way over your shoulder and then all the way down the back and stops at the waistband on the back. And then you've got the same on this side as well. So the ruffle starts here and it goes all the way around the back and stops just here. It's a wrap dress, so it has got a tie just here, and then you've got a waistband, and then on the inside you've also got a waistband, so it's nice and neatly finished on the inside as well. And that goes all the way around the back. There's a waistband at the front and there's a waistband at the back. The neckline is finished with bias binding, so I was really careful inserting the bias binding, and I've used the same fabric for the bias binding. So I was really careful inserting that, pressed it lots, with lots and lots of steam, but I tried not to sort of distort the fabric too much. The armholes are finished with bias binding as well. So this pattern doesn't have sleeves, so at the moment it's a seasonally inappropriate dress for me to be wearing, but it's quite warm inside my house, so I thought I'd pop it on for the video. And then it's a midi length dress, and it's got a ruffle on the bottom, which I absolutely love, and the skirt is gathered into that gorgeous waistband at the front and the same at the back. So I'll stand up so you can see the length. So yeah, it's a really full dress, and then it's got that gorgeous ruffle at the bottom, which I absolutely love. You can see all the sunshine's really shimmering. I absolutely love it. And then it stops about here, so it's not quite floor length, which is perfect for me. I don't like anything that stops sort of too near the floor, because I worry about it dragging on the floor or getting wet if we have any impromptu showers when it's the summer or springtime. So this was the first thing that I got sewn up. I'll put pictures in of me wearing it, and I'll link the pattern down below, and then also if you're interested in the Sew Hayley Jane boxes, I'll put a link so you can get 10% off your first box if you're interested. So that was one of the things that I've got sewn up. I've had this cut out for ages, so I'm really pleased that I actually had the time to sew this up. It's got quite a lot of steps to it, so you construct the bodice, and then there's obviously a lot of gathering for those ruffles, and then you've got the outside waistband and the inside waistband, so that's quite fiddly. You've got the ties, there's lots of gathering on the skirt, lots of gathering on the hem, so I knew it would be something that took me quite a while, so I wanted to make sure that I had enough headspace to tackle it. So I'm really delighted with this. I don't think I'm going to be wearing it anytime soon, although I did try it with a polo neck underneath for long sleeves, and then with tights and boots, so I could try and style it for spring when the weather's still a little bit chilly. But let me just let you know the sizes of the pattern. So it's by Bella Loves. It's a wrap top and a wrap dress. I haven't sewn the top up yet, but I am quite tempted to sew it up because I think that would go really nicely with a pair of high-waisted trousers or culottes or jeans. So I am quite tempted to sew up the top as well. It comes in sizes UK 6 to 20, and there are 3 different cup sizes. So there's an AB cup, a C cup and a D cup. So for a size 6 AB cup, it's 31.5-inch bust. A C cup is 32.5-inch bust, and a D cup is 33.5-inch bust. And then for the waist measurement for a 6, it's 23.5 inches and a hip measurement of 33 inches. And then for a 20, for an AB cup, it's 44.5 inches for the bust. For a C cup, 45.5 inches for the bust. And then for a D cup, 46.5 inches for the bust. And then for a UK 20, for the waist, it's 36 inches and a hip measurement of 46 inches. In terms of fabrics, they recommend lightweight woven fabrics that have got some structure, because you've got this gorgeous ruffle. So double gauze works really well for this wrap dress actually. But they recommend cotton, linen blends, cotton lawn and poplin. It's really nicely in a double gauze. I'm really pleased with it. It's sewed up beautifully, and Bella Loves patterns. There's lots and lots of detail in the instructions to hold your hand. So really pleased with that make. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is a pattern that I wasn't expecting to sew up during half term. It wasn't even on my radar. I hadn't cut it out at all. I didn't have it stored in my Ziploc bags like I normally do. But I was going through my fabric stash again to get some inspiration, and I was reminded of this fabric that I got from Felicity Fabrics. I got it over a year ago, and I can't remember the composition of it, but it feels like a brushed cotton on one side and a scuba on the other side, because it has got quite a lot of stretch, but it's also got quite a lot of structure to it. It's got this gorgeous tartan design, quite dark, so predominantly black, and then it's got green in it as well. And I've had this for over a year, because when it arrived, I originally wanted to turn it into some Nina Lee Portobello trousers, but with that stretch, I was really worried, because the Portobello trousers stretch fabric isn't a recommended fabric, so I was a little bit put off by using this for the Portobello trousers, because I was worried about how they would turn out. I knew that I would definitely have to size down. I was a bit nervous about inserting a zip with a stretch fabric. So it sat in my stash for ages, and then when I was sorting out my patterns, I was reminded of the Deer and Doe Sirocco jumpsuit, and I've sewn this up quite a few times already. I love the fit of it. It's super comfortable, definitely secret pyjamas, and I wondered if this would have enough stretch in it for me to be able to sew up the Sirocco. Now in the instructions of the Sirocco there's a stretch guide, so I did test out the stretch on a small scrap of this fabric, and it did just about have the right amount of stretch. So I cut it out because I was inspired to sew up that pattern, and then I sewed it up mainly on my overlocker, and then I finished the hems of the sleeves and the trousers on my machine. It's sewed up really quickly actually, quite a straightforward make, not too many fiddly bits, but you construct the bodice and then you construct the trousers and then you bring them both together. There's a waistband on the front. I'm just trying to find the front now. There's a waistband on the front and then there's a waistband on the back as well. And then it's a faux wrap, so you stitch it in place for the wrap. So quite similar in terms of the wrap detail to the Friday Pattern Company Westcliff dress. And then obviously it's got the trouser part as well. The trousers have got this gorgeous pleat on the front, got darts on the back. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them, but that just adds a little bit of shaping to the front and to the back. And then it's also got these really gorgeous deep pockets as well. So I'm really pleased that this fabric has worked so well for the Deer and Doe Sirocco, and it's now a wearable garment. It feels a little bit too smart to wear to work, so I think this will be something that I wear when I go out for dinner. So this is the pattern. So like I said, you can do the full length jumpsuit or you can do a play suit, and I've sewn up both types. It's got this faux wrap, and then you've got this lovely sort of neckband that goes all the way around and inside the crossover here. It's got short sleeves and then the legs are slightly tapered. There are two size bandings, so for the paper sizes it's 34 to 46 in terms of European sizes, and then for a PDF it's 34 to 60, which is great. So when I first bought it, it only went up to 46, but they've expanded their size range, which is great. So for a 34, it's a 31.5 inch bust measurement, 23.5 inch waist measurement, and 33.75 inch hip measurement. And then for a 60, it's a 57 7/8 of an inch bust measurement, 49 5/8 of an inch waist measurement, and then 60 inch hip measurement. It's a mock wrap knit jumpsuit with short set-in sleeves and pleated trousers. Version A has tapered legs and version B is a romper. In terms of fabric recommendations, they recommend a medium weight jersey or interlock knit, containing elastane with good recovery and at least 60% stretch. I do find with the Sirocco jumpsuit you have to sort of wiggle into it and wiggle out of it, because this waistband, you can see it brings it in. So if you're trying to decide what size to go for, I'd really go off your waist and your hip measurements, and because you need to be able to wiggle in and out of the jumpsuit. So I'm really pleased with that one. That's another fabric out of my stash and turned into something that I know I'm going to get lots and lots of wear out of. And then on to a pattern that I've talked about so much over the last couple of weeks, and it is the Anna Allen Anthea blouse. So I sewed up two blouses and I sewed up a dress using this pattern this half term, and I'm really thrilled with all of them. So I'll start with the blouses first. I've still got them on hangers. So here's my blouse in this gorgeous cotton lawn fabric that I got from Sew Sunshine. And the reason I bought this is because it was called Lola on the website, and my youngest daughter's called Lola, so I knew that I had to have some. I only bought a metre of this because I wasn't quite sure what I was going to turn it into. It's a cotton lawn, but it was quite wide in the end when I was trying to work out what patterns to use with the fabric. So it meant that I could actually turn it into the Anna Allen Anthea blouse. So that's what I have done with it. I've just got something on the hanger underneath. I've got some trousers on the hanger underneath. I love everything about this blouse. I talk about this pattern so much. I've seen so many beautiful versions. I absolutely love that poofy sleeve that's gathered into the cuff. I love the shape of the neckline, and then it's got a fold over button down placket, and then I really love the curved hem detail that you get as well. I think it's just beautiful. This version I had some dark navy buttons, which I've used to sew on to this version. So that was the first one that I got sewn up, and I'll put a picture of me wearing it so you can see. The second one, again, I had this in my stash, and I've had it in my stash for ages, not really sure what to turn it into. It was a remnant fabric that I got from Sew Sunshine, and it's a viscose crepe. It's got that gorgeous crinkly texture that you get with a crepe. So I used this, I think I had just over a metre of this fabric, and I've turned it into the blouse version. Everything I love about the blouse, the big sleeves gathered into that cuff, the neckline. It was a bit more fiddly attaching the bias facing onto the neckline of this one because it was a crepe. So I just really took my time and used lots and lots of clips. And then the buttons, I got these buttons from rainbow fabrics, absolutely ages, got a massive bag of them. They're sort of quite vintagey and mint green, and I wasn't quite sure what buttons to go for with this fabric because there's so much going on with it. It's got flowers, there's also, where is it? There's a bird on here as well there. There's a bird as well. I love those flowers. They're like peonies. They're absolutely gorgeous. There was quite a lot going on with this fabric, so I wasn't quite sure what colour buttons to go for. But I think they go quite nicely. I think they're really pretty. So that was the second version that I sewed up. And then my final version was a dress, and I just absolutely love this. And this fabric was from Sister Mintaka. I think they might still have some of this in stock, so if they have, I'll link it down below for you. The other two fabrics from Sew Me Sunshine, I know that they're not in stock anymore because one of them was a remnant and the other one I bought it absolutely ages ago, so sorry about that. But this is a cotton lawn. It feels gorgeous and soft. I love all of the colours in this beautiful fabric. It's got flowers all over it and tulips. It's got dark, so a black background, but you don't really see that too much because of the brightness of all the flowers. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. I wasn't sure what colour buttons to go for with this dress, but I had buttons that are slightly bigger than what they recommend, but I think it's fine. I just spaced them out. Got these gorgeous red buttons, and you can't really tell that there's red buttons on there because of all the beautiful detail with the flowers, so I think they're the perfect choice. I wanted them to blend in because I love how busy and bright that fabric is. So this is the dress, so it's much longer. It's still got all the details of the blouse, so it's got that curved hem. You've got the belt for the dress as well, and then these gorgeous sleeves, which are my favourite part of this pattern, I think. And then the neckline is finished with that bias tape as well. And I used the same fabric as the dress for the bias tape. I just made my own using a little scrap that I had. So I'm really pleased with this. I've worn it already with black tights and boots, but I can also see this being a lovely summer dress as well. I think it'll work really well. So I'm really pleased with my 3 Anthea blouses. So for the Anna Allen Anthea blouse, you can sew a blouse or you can sew a dress. It's a dartless blouse and dress with puff sleeves, button up front and fold over placket, and then the bias face neckline, and then it's got the curved hem as well. It comes in sizes 00 to 22. So for a 00, it's a bust measurement of 31 inches, a waist measurement of 24 inches, and a hip measurement of 34 inches. And then for a 22, it's a bust measurement of 48 inches, a waist measurement of 41 inches, and then a hip measurement of 51 inches. And then in terms of fabrics, they recommend woven, so cotton, linen, a medium weight or lightweight fabric, like a voile, a lawn, and a silk. So I've used a viscose crepe, I've used a cotton lawn, I have sewn it in a poplin as well, and they all work really nicely. I've also sewn it in quite a lightweight viscose, and that works beautifully as well. The sleeve is slightly more drapey with a sort of a drapey fabric. So I'm really pleased with those 3 makes. They're really going to add something to my wardrobe. And then the next thing that I wanted to talk about is a dress that I've made using some double gauze. It's a dress that I've sewn up a couple of times before. In fact, all of my versions have been sewn with double gauze, so I really am starting to fall back in love with the fabric. It is the Cocoa Crafts Plum dress. I've got the pattern to show you in a second. And I use this midnight blue double gauze that's got gold specks all over it. It's absolutely beautiful. And I got this from First for Fabrics a while ago. It's coming up quite dark on the camera, but I will put pictures of me wearing this dress so you can see what it looks like. I absolutely love everything about this dress. It's such a great pattern. This is the pattern. It's by Cocoa Crafts and it's called the Plum dress. It's a baby doll style dress. I think it's absolutely beautiful. There's 2 different skirt lengths, so you can do a mini length or you can do a midi length, and then you can add sleeves if you want to, or you can add this gorgeous little ruffle, which is what I've chosen to do on my dress. And it's a dropped shoulder pattern. The neckline is finished with bias binding here, and then you've got a button down placket on the back, and then you've got a couple of buttons to fasten that up. And to sort of highlight the gold specks in this beautiful fabric, I used some gold buttons that I had from Felicity Fabrics. I've showed these buttons before because I bought quite a few of them, but they're gold and they've got heart shape in the middle of them. I think they're super cute. So I'm really pleased with this. I think it's a really cute dress. I went for the longer skirt length. Just there, it's a gathered skirt, and then I didn't add sleeves mainly because I didn't have enough of the fabric left to add the long sleeves, but also because I just wanted that really cute ruffle to be the star of the dress. So the ruffle is attached to the dropped shoulder detail, so it ends up sort of sitting halfway down the top part of your arm. It's quite a cute feature. I'll put pictures in of me wearing the dress so you can see what it looks like on me. But that fabric is just beautiful. It's described as a midnight blue, and then you can see all those speckles of gold all over it. I had to be really careful when I was ironing this dress. So when I had to press the placket on the back, I had to be really careful, make sure that the iron was on a really low temperature, and I had to put some cloth over the top of it, because what I found, I don't know if I can show you on the hem of the dress. I don't know if it's on the inside. I had to put, yes. Can you tell? You might be able to tell. Here I've got a bit of a gap where there's no dots, because what I discovered quite quickly, and I'm glad that I discovered it quite quickly, was that if the iron was on too hot and it was in direct contact with those gold speckles all over the dress, then I found that it melted away the gold dots. So I had to be really careful when I was sewing this up and make sure that those gold dots didn't melt away. I think this is going to be a really versatile dress. It's worked really well layered up with a long sleeve top, thick woolly tights and trainers, but I also think it's a dress that will work really well when it's warm outside, so I don't need to layer up with a long sleeve top and tights. It's a really nice length for me. I much prefer the midi length rather than the mini length. That's a personal preference. So a little bit more information about the pattern. So here are the line drawings. So like I said, you've got that gathered skirt for both versions. One's a mini version and this is a midi length. You've got that button down back detail at the back, where you've got, I think it's 4 buttons. I only had 3 of the gold, so I just made it work with 3 buttons. And then you can add on the sleeve, or you can do this gorgeous little ruffle, which is on the drop shoulder. Really, really beautiful design. So here it is again. And then this is the back detail with those gorgeous buttons. And then the beautiful ruffle as well, and the gathered skirt. In terms of sizes, it comes in a UK 6 up to a UK 36. So for a UK 6, it's a bust measurement of 31 inches, a waist measurement of 23 inches, and a hip measurement of 31 inches. And then for a 36, it's a bust measurement of 60 inches, a waist measurement of 54 inches, and a hip measurement of 63 inches. In terms of fabric recommendations, they recommend light to medium weight woven fabrics with a drape, like a cotton, a lawn, a chambray rayon, viscose linen, double gauze crepe, flannel, light denim, light needle cord or corduroy. And when possible, they encourage the use of natural fibres. In terms of how much fabric you need between 1.75 metres up to 2.55 metres, depending on which version. So if you're going to do the long sleeves with the midi skirt, so that's the longer skirt, then you need more fabric, so 2.55 metres. I only had 2 metres of that fabric, so I was able to sew up the version that has the ruffle on the drop down shoulder and the midi length skirt. So another really successful make from this half term, and one that I think I'll wear in the winter, but also in the spring and the summer as well. I'll just layer it up if I need to when the weather's cold, and then perhaps not layer it up in the springtime, but maybe take a cardigan. And in the summer, hopefully, we get lovely weather and I won't need to layer it up at all. So that was everything that I got sewn up this week. I've got one more thing that I want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about that after I've shared fabric that I have bought this week. So I have got some fabric coming from a new fabric shop which I wanted to mention, and it's a fabric shop called the Fabric Revival. They've got some really beautiful fabrics over on their website, and I have been tempted and I have bought some beautiful blue quilted fabric which I'm loving at the moment. It hasn't arrived yet, so next Sunday I'll be able to share it in my Sunday Sewing Catch Up. But I'll put a picture in of what the quilting fabric looks like. It came in 2 different colourways. There was a blue colourway with this gorgeous pattern all over it, and there was a yellow one with this gorgeous pattern all over it. And I was umming and ahhing about which one, but I went for blue in the end because I know blue is a colour that really suits me. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to turn it into yet. I'm thinking about using it to sew up another Ilford jacket and still omit the collar, so just use bias binding to finish that neckline, and not have the buttons on the front. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm going to wait for it to arrive, feel the fabric and see how weighty it is, and then decide what I'm going to turn it into. But I'm really excited. The fabric looks absolutely beautiful, so I'm looking forward to it arriving in the post. So it's a new shop. They're over on Instagram. I'll link them in the description below, and they've got loads of beautiful fabrics fabrics over on their website, and they are called the Fabric Revival. And then I also went shopping. I went shopping in Kingston, and that's a local town near to me, and they have got a fabric land. I don't go very often, but when I do, I always pop into Fabric Land and see what they've got. And I bought 2 pieces of fabric, which I thought was quite restrained. I bought one fabric, well, both of them I had a plan in mind. What I'm trying to do with fabrics, although I haven't done that with the quilted fabric, I'm trying to make sure that I've got a specific project in mind to try and stop them from sitting in my stash for years and years. So the first one is a Viscose Linen in this gorgeous teal colourway. I've got 3 meters. I think it was like £4.50 per metre, which I think is a bargain. And I'm going to use this to toile a pattern that I've had in my stash for ages. And I shared this pattern when I did my Sew Hayley Jane unboxing video for this month. And it is a Megan Nielsen pattern, and it's called the Tanya Collapse. And I want to have a go at making this version, which is what I think the model's wearing on the front. This was a contender for this month's Sew Hayley Jane fabric, but I've actually decided to turn that into something different, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this video. But I'm going to use this fabric to toile this pattern. I want to check the fit. I want to see how they sew up. This pattern takes a lot of fabric, so I got 3 meters because I want to sew up view C, which is a midi length pair of culottes with less fullness. View A and B, which are these ones, have got lots and lots of volume in them. They're designed to be a pair of culottes that look like you're wearing a skirt. So I want to try this version. I think they've got a zip. Yes, they have. So this pattern is a modern take on culottes, combining practicality of shorts with the appearance of a skirt. The pattern features a fitted waistband, deep pockets, wonderful drape, invisible side seam zipper, and hidden centre front and back pleats to create the illusion of a skirt. So I'm really looking forward to sewing this up. But I wanted to toile it first, check the fit, and then get some fabric. But hopefully, if these sew up really nicely, this will be a wearable toile. So I've got lots and lots of tops that are going to go beautifully with this fabric. It moves so beautifully. It's got a gorgeous amount of drape because of the viscose content. And I really love that colour. So I'm looking forward to trying that pattern. So that needs to go in the wash. I haven't pre-washed it yet. So the Tanya culottes come in sizes 0 to 20. I'm not sure if they've got an extended size range if they do PDF pattern, but for the paper pattern that I've got, it's a 0 to 20, and it goes off your waist and hip measurement. So for a 0, it's a 24-inch waist and a 34-inch hip. If they go beyond a 20, I'll put some information in about the sizing for you, but I'll also link this pattern in the description below. And then for a 20, it's a 38-inch waist and a 48-inch hip. In terms of fabrics, they recommend light to medium weight fabrics with plenty of drape, which work well for all variations, like crepe de chine, cotton, crepe, challis, lawn, rayon, linen, lightweight wool, tencel and chambray. So I'm looking forward to tackling that. I do love a pair of culottes, especially a pair of culottes that look like a skirt. And then the second fabric I got, I've actually turned it into something, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, but it's this. I don't know what type of, I didn't really pay attention to the label in the shop. It's a jersey fabric, and it's definitely got a little bit of drape, and it's definitely got stretch. So I don't know if it's a viscose. Well, it's not really a viscose because it's got a texture to it. It's a lightweight jersey fabric. I'm not quite sure of the composition, because if you look at the texture on the inside, I'm not quite sure what type of fabric it is. But I got this with a hack in mind. So I have been sewing up the Tilly and the Buttons pearl cardigan, which is a wrap cardigan, and it ties at the side, quite similar actually to the floor dress. And I wanted to have a try at hacking it into a dress. I thought it'd be really comfortable secret pyjamas. So I had a little think about how best to do it. A couple of patterns came in mind. The ruffle I borrowed from this pattern, the floor dress. And then the skirt, I drafted myself a couple of rectangles for the width and the length that I wanted for the dress. I did a panel, 2 panels for the front, and then I did a panel for the back. And I made sure that it was wide enough for it to create some gathering, because I wanted gathering for all of the skirt part of the dress. I inserted ruffles similar to this. I kept the balloon sleeve of the pearl cardigan and that deep cuff. And then I also, for extra ruffle, added a ruffle on the bottom of the dress. And I'm so delighted with how it's turned out. So this is the pattern. I might see if I can just close it. It was on the hanger, but it's come off the hanger. I've got pictures of me wearing this dress, and I've also got a video of me wearing the dress as well, just so you can see how it moves. I think it's really helpful for you to see how it moves, but I'm really, really pleased with this hack. It's turned out exactly how I wanted in my head. So I'll just pop it on the hanger so I can show you. It's really quite weighty, but when I put it on, it definitely feels like secret pajamas. It's absolutely incredible. Because I was sewing up the pearl, you can see that I've got some stay tape just to make sure that I didn't stretch out the neckband. I am going to try and snip that because I don't need that. Although it's not, you know, it's not going to bother me. It's just annoying me that you can see it. So I've got the balloon sleeve. I'll hold it up and show you first, and then I'll talk about the features. So you've got that wrap of the pearl cardigan. It's got a waistband, which I used exactly the same waistband pattern piece for the cardigan. And then you've got this wrap skirt that's got a ruffle on the bottom. So I sewed up the pearl cardigan exactly as the pattern says, but what I did with the waistband is I chopped it in half. So the pattern piece, you're probably not going to be able to see it because the fabric's quite busy, but this is the waistband, and the pattern piece is double that width, because what you're supposed to do is fold the waistband in half and then attach it to the bottom of the cardigan. So what I did was I cut out the waistband front and the waistband back as pattern instructions, but then I chopped it in half so that I could make sure that I had a waistband that was an outer waistband, and then you'll see on the inside it's really beautiful. It's a really lovely finish on the inside, and then we've got an inner waistband as well. And that's what I wanted to do, because I wanted to make sure that I could attach the waistband both to the cardigan part but also to the newly constructed skirt part. So what I did was I constructed the cardigan as pattern instructions, and then I attached the outer waistband to the cardigan, and then I attached the inner waistband to the cardigan, making sure that I followed the step to create the gap in the waistband here so that you could still thread the ties through, because I still wanted it to be an actual wrap sort of dress where you had to wrap it and fasten it. And then I attached the skirt to the outer waistband, then I pressed the seam down and pressed the inner waistband up, and then I stitched in the ditch all the way around using a zigzag stitch. So it wasn't quite in the ditch because it was a zigzag stitch, but essentially it would have been. I just stitched in that place to capture it on the inside, so it gives that really neat finish on the inside. And then for the ruffle, what I did was I sewed up the ruffle as per the instructions for the floor. So I did a front ruffle and a back ruffle and stitched them together, gathered them, and then what I did on the pattern for the pearl is I sandwiched them in between the side seams. So I laid out the cardigan before I inserted the sleeves and sewed up the side seams. I clipped the ruffle starting at one side of the side seam, going all the way into the shoulder and then all the way round to the other side seam before I inserted the sleeve. And then I inserted the sleeve once I'd stitched the ruffle and then sewed up the side seam. So it's been caught in the side seam, and then it goes along the shoulder head and where the sleeve is as well. So you end up with this. The only thing I will say is you can see the other side of the fabric sometimes when the wind blows it, but most of the time you can't. So I am going to try next time I have a go at making this dress at making sure that this ruffle has got 2 pieces of fabric, so it's essentially lined. So no matter which way you see the ruffle, you see the same fabric, you see the right side of the fabric. But I'm really pleased with this hack. I'm so delighted with how it turned out, and I wasn't sure if it was going to because I had an idea in my head. But I really love that about sewing, that you can have this idea and put it into practice. Sometimes it works really well and sometimes it doesn't. And for me with this hack, it's worked out really well. So I will put in pictures so you can see what the whole dress looks like on me. And I've got some videos as well because I think it's helpful for you to be able to see how it moves. So I just need somewhere to go now to wear this dress because I feel like it's quite a dressy dress. So I have said to my husband that he needs to take me out for dinner, or I need to go out with my friends and I can wear this dress and feel cozy because it's secret pajamas because it's made out of a jersey fabric. So that's all the fabric that I've been buying this week. I haven't got any patterns to talk about this week. I did talk very briefly about the Tanya Collapse, but that's a pattern that I've had in my stash for ages. So I then wanted to talk about, although I haven't got a pattern to talk about, I have got a pattern company that I wanted to mention, and it's a company that Angela Unicorn suggested on my YouTube video when I asked about the green satin astronaut fabric, and the pattern company is called Chris Wood Sews. So the idea behind the patterns there, I haven't bought one yet, but I am eyeing up the envelope dress, which is the pattern that Angela Unicorn suggested. The patterns are custom sized, they're aimed at reducing waste and are written with beginners in mind. So the idea is that you enter your measurements into a formula to determine the fabric requirements and the dimensions of the pattern. So I'm quite looking forward to giving the pattern a try, and I think I will start with the envelope dress. It's got a really lovely shape to it. So thank you, Angela Unicorns, for recommending that pattern company. I hadn't heard of them before. I'll put them in the description below, and I'll put in an image now of what the envelope dress looks like, so you can go and check them out if you are interested too. I always love hearing about new pattern companies. And then before I finish with my sewing plans for this week, I wanted to talk about 2 YouTube channels. I do love mentioning YouTube channels. I love discovering new people to watch over on YouTube as well. And the lovely Laura, who is the Carpe Diem Stitcher, has just started a YouTube channel. So she's got 3 videos up there at the moment, with the aim of sharing things to do with crochet, knitting, but also sewing. And she has been taking part in the Friday Sews videos as well. So I wanted to give Laura a little mention because she's just started out on YouTube. So it'd be great if you could go and give her a little follow. I've enjoyed watching her 3 videos so far, and I look forward to watching many more of her videos. And then the other person that's now over on YouTube is the lovely Sandeep, who is from Sister Mintaka. So Sister Mintaka have got a YouTube channel. So I've enjoyed watching the videos so far that are over on the channel, all to do with beautiful fabrics. Very tempting to head over then to the website and buy some beautiful fabrics. But it's really lovely to see Sister Mintaka over on YouTube too. I love watching Sew Me Sunshine because they've got a YouTube channel when they share all of the fabrics and the pattern suggestions. And you know, they're a real source of inspiration, and it's a great opportunity to see the fabrics actually moving. You really get an idea of the drape and the texture of the fabric, and I love it when they pair the fabrics with pattern suggestions as well. So I've been enjoying watching the Sew Me Sunshine channel as well. I'm sure you follow them already, but if you don't, I'll link them in the description below as well. And then the final thing that I always finish these videos on is sharing some of my sewing plans for the week. So half term sadly is finished. I'm going back to work on Monday, which I'm really excited about seeing the children, but it does mean that my sewing time dwindles massively. But I am determined to still keep some sewing projects on the back. It's really important for me to be able to switch off from that busyness of school life. So I've been talking about this for absolutely ages, but I've got some acacia knickers that are cut out, stitched together, and all they need is the knicker elastic sewing into them. So I've got a couple of pairs here. I've got some Moustache acacia knickers. They're literally constructed. I just need to put the knicker elastic in. I've got some of these ones, which are jungle print. I've got some pink ones using offcuts of jersey that I use for a dress for my girls. And then I'm trying out some lycra underwear as well. I thought I might as well try it. I had some offcuts. So I've got about 12 pairs of knickers that are at this stage. They're all constructed, they just need knicker elastic. And that will be quite a nice, straightforward task. Just measuring the elastic, clipping it in place, and then stitching it. So hopefully I'll have a couple of pairs of my acacia knickers completely finished next week when I share them in my Sunday Sewing Catch-Up. So that's the first project. And this is a free pattern by Megan Nielsen. It's the acacia knickers. And they've just brought out a kids version as well. So I'll link it in the description if you haven't seen it before. I love that it's a free pattern, and it's designed for you using up all your scrap sort of jersey offcuts as well. I'm still ploughing on with my I Am Sunshine jeans. So I've done a toile. I'm now on to making them in the corduroy fabric that I've got. So I'll update next week once I've got those sewn up. Hopefully I'll get them finished. And then I've got a couple of Yanta overalls cut out and in here, so I may get a chance to get them sewn up, but our markets start next week, so I might not actually get a chance to get them sewn up. We'll see. But I've got them cut out in that brushed cotton I've talked about from Abercorn Fabrics. And then I've got a canvas fabric as well that I've got cut out that's got wildlife animals all over, like rabbits and things. So I'm hoping to make a start on those. But for now, they're cut out and they're stored in my A3 zip wallets, which I've shared in my videos before. When I've cut out projects, I usually store them in these. They're A3, so it means that you can put the pattern information in there, the instructions, and any of the pattern pieces and your project cut out. And then they just zip up. So it means that they're nice and safe and you're not going to lose any pattern pieces. So they're ready to go. I'm not sure if I get a chance to start on those because I've got a busy week at work and then next weekend I'll be busy with the market, but maybe I'll get little bits done. So maybe I'll get the pockets constructed and top stitched onto the pattern pieces. We'll see. Mainly I'm hoping to get my knickers finished. And then what I'm also going to do is cut out, I definitely won't get a chance to sew this up, but I'm going to cut out the Friday Pattern Company Avenir jumpsuit in this gorgeous viscose fabric that I got in a Sew Hayley Jane box, and I asked for suggestions on what to turn this into. Most people suggested the Avenir jumpsuit as voting because there was 4 patterns that I couldn't decide between. I'm definitely going to go for this. I think it'll be a gorgeous make in the summer. So there's no hurry on that because I don't think I'll be able to wear it anytime soon because it's too cold. But I'm looking forward to making a start on that and getting it cut out at least. So those are my sewing plans at the moment. That is everything that I wanted to share with you today. I've linked everything in the description below, so if there's anything that I've talked about that you want more information about, go and check out the description because I should have put links there. If you can't find what you're looking for, please leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. I hope you've enjoyed hearing what I've been getting up to. I've really enjoyed doing lots and lots of sewing this half term. I feel nice and relaxed and ready to get back to school, and I'm looking forward to seeing the children on Monday. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, it'd be great if you could hit that subscribe button because you'll get notified of when I bring out my next video. Thanks as always for watching. Take care and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.